I have no desire to live. I do. First of all, you're not alone. You're not alone. Secondly, seek professional help. Shrinks, meds, etc. All of these things exist for a reason. There's a multitude of reasons for why every bit of what I'm about to share might be of no use to you and even do more harm than good. Reasons I myself might not even know. So do prioritize professional help. If you do have a professional on your case, share with that person and see if they think there might be something to it. Now, I've written down a lot, so I'm going to be reading off of my screen over here as we go through this. Thirdly, as someone who's been there, I can tell you a human being can live within that state of mind. Maybe not every human being, but at least it has been done. I'm going to share with you some of the solutions I've stumbled upon and some of the lessons of old that I've dug up from people whose lives were against all odds every day. Eliminate any and all options of self-harm or intentional harming of others. Even people who may have done you wrong. You don't have the luxury of doing something stupid. You don't have the luxury of acting out. You don't have the luxury of killing yourself or anyone. Doing any of that will affect someone somewhere who's in your exact footsteps too, or put them into your footsteps. You don't deserve a better life if you wish your current state upon anyone who hasn't done anything to earn it. You also haven't earned your exit. Why would you want to exit your life at a point wherein no one would remember you a year from now? Just don't allow yourself to think you've earned a way out. If you can't wake up every day out of a desire to live, do it out of habit. Wake up, make your bed, and go out into the world and live because that's all you've known how to do since you were born. Scoop up your guts, tuck them back into your torso, piece together that carcass of a human being that you are into something somewhat functional. Do whatever routine you need to do. If you can't stand looking at yourself in the mirror, don't. If you do look at yourself and happen to not like what you see, it's okay. You don't need to like what you see. You don't need to expect anyone else to like what they see. If you can tell yourself something constructive as you look at yourself in the mirror, great, do that. If not, then rather than bashing yourself to a point wherein you go back to bed, just tell yourself, you got yourself into this mess, you bastard. Now go out and live it. Again, you haven't earned an exit. The scariest thing in the world for most people is assuming responsibility for how their own lives have played out. In some cases, it would be the last hit that does them in. This is both sad and useless because it is indeed the very thing that should set you free and not overcome you. Why? Because the minute you say, I did this, you can expand it to say, I did this, I can undo this. And the minute you say, I can undo this, you're starting the road toward anything more worthy than your current situation. If taking this step freaks you out, just gradually entertain the idea till it becomes less scary. This is a process. But by the time you get to, people have done me wrong because I allowed them to do me wrong, you're also at the place where you go, I'm not going to allow them to do me wrong. You are now going to live your life solely as a spectator. If you lack a purpose in life, or life lacks meaning to you, your only purpose for now is to observe, listen, and learn. The only function you have is that of taking in information. You may have wants, needs, desires, aims, ambitions, hopes, dreams, opinions, beliefs, and everything under the sun. But if you're in this state and nothing is moving and you don't even want to live, then what hope do you have to realize any of it? I've come back to this place more than once, and as a result, I view my life in chapters and spurs. Perhaps that is just my journey, and it's different for all of us. But in the event that it might help you, I'm sharing it. This is an exercise, an experiment. You will come back to all of everything else later if this experiment brings you something. But for now, you're going out there every day with zero expectations. You're conversing and interacting with the world and with people without any expectations. The day doesn't have to be good. Just make it productive. Come back at the end of it having learned something, and always ask yourself, what did I learn and why? If you're someone who is either suicidal or at least close to being so, you have one luxury, and that luxury is living life as someone whose life is technically over. It really should take every bit of pressure off, and every tiny bit of good should be seen as an immense gain. Take all your responsibilities and obligations and list them hierarchically. Put the most important ones on top and the least important and or least fulfilling at the bottom. This is a lot harder if you have a spouse and or children than if you're single with no kids. If you're being overwhelmed by the responsibilities and tasks in your everyday life, remove as many as you can out of the least important and least fulfilling ones. This might lose you some people in your life, but that might just have to be a part of it. Do the same with all the other regular activities you have in your schedule. Anything that isn't fulfilling you or helping you grow and progress, scrap it. Strip your life down to the bare minimum of what it can be to allow as much as you can of your time and energy for learning and observing. If you have no desire to live, there's bound to be some reason for why you don't value your life in its current form. You just need your food, water, shelter, and the internet connection that takes you to this channel. And the general ocean of information and misinformation that is the internet. Even if the job you have to support yourself with is the shittiest one on the planet, don't be bummed to keep it. Don't expect it to ever be good, but it's just a job, damn it. There are ways to maximize one's enjoyment out of even the crappiest jobs, and we'll get to that. Also, if you can find ways to have fun at your crappy job, how amazing would the good job be? Now, as you spend your day roaming around the world with no hopes, no expectations, take it in. Look for everything odd, peculiar, unusual, unexpected, and intriguing. Ask questions, look around it. Try and find more information and more clues within the scope and circumference of time and space. This will keep you focused, and asking questions might help you contemplate on these things that are very much outside of you. Also, see if you notice novelties or things you had previously missed about the places and people you thought you knew. Allow for everything that keeps your mind off of yourself and on everything else. When online, read and or listen to scholarly works. Do podcasts, audiobooks, ebooks, and or books in general. Go to secondhand stores and pick up academic and or scholarly titles for cheap. Feed your mind. You never know where clues and answers come from. Indulge yourself in psychology, philosophy, and history, even if you might find those topics dull or challenging at first. Try your best to stick with it. As an exercise, remember? If you're not curious by nature, now's a good time to develop the skill to at least convince yourself that you can be curious. Also, read novels, plays, biographies about people whose lives sucked. And rather than taking it as a sign that life is hopeless, find comfort in the fact that people lived full lives who were worse than yours. Seek out conversations in your everyday life. Ideally with either random strangers or people you perceive as someone you might not have much in common with. If you're an introvert, this is going to be tricky, but all the more rewarding. If you're an extrovert, if you're an extrovert, allowing them to talk more than you talk might be tough. See if you can avoid projecting yourself onto everything they say or command the conversation. Conversations are a lot easier to have when you do less of the talking. If the other person, people, do or does 3/4 of the talking, you're on a good roll. You should try to have no less than 5 to 10 conversations a day. Ideally 20 to 30, ranging from 10 to 30 minutes if possible. If half or more are people you'd otherwise not talk to, great. If some are random strangers you solicited for an exchange, provided that you live in a somewhat safe and stable place and don't get yourself stalked by dangerous folks, even greater. But the most important thing you can do for yourself during this phase of our experiment is to expand your horizon, looking for clues, looking for novelty, new ideas, new information, trying to take in as many details as you can about who the person is, what their life and journey is, why they might say and do what they say and do. Whatever intrigues you, get them to elaborate and Google things. Look for opportunities, too. Much like our car might run out of gas just shy of making it to the pump at the gas station parking lot, a human being's life might end when a solution was almost on the table right next to them and they never bothered to turn over to see it. If you want random people to talk to you, don't be afraid of starting off with a compliment or two. Just something humble and honest, no ass kissing. You'd be amazed at how flattered the average person gets when they get attention. Also, and you might know this, some people don't know how to take compliments. So if they seem embarrassed, just loosen up the atmosphere by saying, hey, it's okay to just accept the compliment. Smile at them. Don't fear rejection. Everyone who wants to talk to you is a gift. The rest are just random people on the street going on about their day. It is never personal. They don't know you, you don't know them, they might be having a bad day, etc., etc. The next step. Once you're going about your day with no expectations and feeding your mind and senses as you do so, you start working at your body, exposing it to exercise if you're not already a gym rat. If you're already in what most would deem as great shape, then ask yourself why great shape isn't enough. Really try and find clues to whatever might be missing if you simply don't know. If you have neglected your body, walk. Work on your posture to make sure that you're walking and moving in the most efficient ways that expand less effort and help you make the best use of your energy. Get decent help. If you join a gym, find the people who look like they know a thing or two about what they're doing. Don't be afraid to compliment them. Again, that goes a long way, and if you can't afford a trainer, it's amazing how easy it is to get people to volunteer their time to teach you a thing or two, or even work out with you. If you find workout buddies and or good trainers, share this with them. Let them know your journey and ask them to help you stay on your own ass. Also, they might share this with others who need inspiration. But the first step is always proper body posture, composition, and walking properly. The old term, just walk it off, did certainly not come out of nowhere. People actually knew stuff, even in ancient times, even before science. We can just decipher the depth and scope of what they knew and didn't know. So, we better try and use it. Also, stretches and range of motion. But again, this isn't really my field. I have experience with athletics, but I'm not an expert. So find the experts that have something to offer that works for you. Recreation. Be very, very careful here. Recreation is a gift to the stable life, yet it can be the ultimate demise and destruction to the unstable or uncertain one. As someone who has lived in highly competitive places, I can tell you that the easiest thing in the world is to go party your ass off 7 days a week and always meet so and so and so and so and have all these alleged connections and be truly hooked up for life, and yet nothing ever comes of any of it. It's lying to yourself through the teeth. You can be known as the greatest party animal of LA, Las Vegas, London, New York, or wherever, yet never advance your life in any way, shape, or form you might ever care for. You see, as much as parties and parks are where luxury, success, and high end individuals go to blow off some steam, let it loose, slack, and enjoy themselves, those are hardly places where life and business happen. So, unless it's a business event or something some agent, manager, or whoever you have managing your career and other components of your life suggested, be on your guard and be alert. But even if it is business related, be on the lookout for what's expected of you and what offers can truly be embedded within it. Because even your closest ones might be setting you up for something that isn't within your alley of acceptance. If you're a model, actor, actress, musician, or anyone within a talent and or performance-based line of work, beware of the social gatherings and mixers. Also, if you're a corporate type, make sure the event either directly ties to your customer and or coworker slash company relations. If anything moves outside of that, make sure prostitution is whatever you signed up for. Why? Because sex and business have seldom been disconnected. And as much as people like to pretend for it to be, it hardly ever will. So, it's better if we just acknowledge it as a reality of life and address it accordingly. We all, men and women, solicit ourselves to a certain degree. We exploit and abuse ourselves, allow ourselves to be exploited and abused, and that will not change. The only hope is to honestly know what we're in for and what there is to gain from it, and keep the mutual benefit acceptable, be it personal or professional interactions. So, as it may have dawned on you, we have now created a bit of a roadmap together. We brought it back to zero, started as a naked based human being with zero expectations and built it. We have started conversations, observed, and learned. We have grown, found new things, fed our minds, and built our bodies, fueled ourselves with new energy to take on the next chapter. We are one. We are a team. The next steps will be how we progress those conversations into new opportunities and new connections to build a future. How do we make sure we're all on the same page? How do we make sure that our strengths complement each other? That comes through the art of the conversation, the art of the mistake, the art of loyalty, all of which will be covered and built on this channel. This, my fellow human, is where we turn hopelessness into a force to be reckoned with, loss into gain, and defeat into victory. This place you're in, it's only a life. We all have one. Most of us have been there. It's trauma, it's stress, it's torture, pain, suffering, and turmoil, but it doesn't mean something amazing can't come out of it. I might laughingly say, get the fuck over yourself. But it's because I myself had to. And it took a lot for me to get there. And as long as you take the journey I'm inviting you to take, you stick with me, I will never leave your side. I am as much yours as you are mine. We are one. We are a team. I invite you to take the lessons of my ancestors and mine own for your advancement in life. I am a brother to you, and if my way is of use to you, I will want to meet you and spend time with you as that brother. And build a life as a team, as a family. You're not alone. All is not lost. This is a temporary speed bump on your own road to greatness and excellence. Take my hand. Let's go there. This might not be the recipe, if there is even such a thing, but it is a recipe. As far as I'm concerned, it's hard to tell if there's a right or wrong way to do life, but things either work or they do not. Whether it's employment, dating, or anything else, it always comes down to your capacity to initiate conversations, look for value, and demonstrate value. People either see what you bring to the table and have the desire and capacity to match it, or they do not. Don't ask for permission to go out there and do life. I didn't ask for anyone's permission when I released this video. And it will either stand or fall. So will I.